Today we're talking about an ally of Kamala Khan, the superhero from Marvel Comics lore known as Miss Marvel. And though he debuted just a few years ago, it was in 2016, he's already finding his way to live-action television. This is all about Red Dagger. Thanks for watching JLS Comics. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all of our weekly content. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into the story. Created by Willow Wilson, the G is silent she says, and Mirka Andolfo, Red Dagger debuted in 2016 in the 12th issue of Miss Marvel's own ongoing comic book series. The story comes on the heels of another superhero civil war that pitted friends against friends as they fought over the ethics of predictive policing, the morality of using an inhuman mosaic to stop and apprehend people before they committed crimes. It was exhausting, and so Miss Marvel needed a break. Her break took her to Karachi, Pakistan, the native home of her parents Abu Yusuf Khan and Ami Muniba Khan, who, still pregnant with Kamala, took her and relocated to New Jersey in America. Kamala was on a personal journey to connect to her family and her culture, to find the missing pieces of her life that she wasn't finding in New Jersey that she felt that she might find in Karachi. It was after getting to her grandmother's compound in Karachi that she ran into a boy that was living in her mother's old room. This was Kareem, a guy from Badin who was staying there while studying for his university entrance exams. It turns out that Kamala's aunt Aisha went to secondary school with Kareem's mother, and so through that connection is how Kareem wound up staying with Aisha. While there, Kamala learned that corrupt cartels were taking advantage of a water shortage in the city to blow up municipal hydrants to force people to buy water from them at inflated prices. One night, Kamala met with Kareem on adjacent balconies, and Kareem told Kamala that people were leaving for the US and for the United Kingdom in droves due to the corruption, and there needed to be someone left to fix things, that there was a lot worth saving in their city. It inspired Kamala to wrap her red scarf around her face later that night and go out as Miss Marvel. While stopping a water cartel gang as Miss Marvel, Kamala ran into another vigilante, a guy with a belt laden with daggers and a red scarf concealing his face. This was the masked vigilante, Lal Kanjir, which is Urdu, roughly translating to Red Dagger. Miss Marvel and Red Dagger talked, and he told her he patrols the streets to protect people. He could tell by her accent that she was a Ferengi, and not the Star Trek kind. Ferengi here means foreigner. So they shook hands and parted ways, and Miss Marvel began to realize that those pieces of herself that she was searching for weren't tied to a place, that they were inside of her. Parts of herself she had to figure out no matter where she was in the world. And so with that revelation, Miss Marvel decided to head back to New Jersey. That while Red Dagger was defending Karachi, her hometown in New Jersey needed its own defender. So that next day, groggy from a late night out, she talked with her new friend Kareem and told him that she was heading back to the States. Kareem told Kamala that he was glad that she came and she was always welcome back. And it wouldn't be until the end of 2017, the next year, when we would see Red Dagger again, this time with Miss Marvel issue 23, also his first cover appearance. There was a lot of change happening for Miss Marvel, and this was at a time when a new exchange student was going to be joining her class at Cole's Academy. And that new exchange student, much to Kamala's surprise, just so happened to be Kareem. Kareem was there for a study abroad exchange program. And Kamala's parents didn't tell her because they were preoccupied with helping her brother and her brother's wife, who was in the final stages of pregnancy, get ready for their new baby. And so while Kamala was introducing Kareem to her friends, a train horn went off, and so Kamala cut the conversation short and stuck away to don her Miss Marvel attire. And so did Kareem. It turns out that the electric brakes on a train failed, and as Miss Marvel worked out how to stop the runaway train, Red Dagger appeared atop the train cars, much to Miss Marvel's shock. Red Dagger revealed that he'd learned his parkour and edge weapon skills by watching YouTube videos, and he did so because he wanted to help. There was no innate atomic level mutation, no alien influence, or ancient mystic swordmaster to train with. It was his desire to do something. Miss Marvel and Red Dagger worked together to drop a drawbridge so the train wouldn't crash into a canal. And as the train rolled on, they continued talking and bonding, with Red Dagger alluding that he thinks New Jersey is pretty and magical because of Miss Marvel. Their budding relationship and their attraction to each other was palpable atop that runaway train, causing a bit of tension between the pair. Though they did manage to stop the train together, but as the media reporters fawned over this new hero Red Dagger, it had Miss Marvel thinking that she needed another break, that maybe Miss Marvel wasn't needed. Kamala disappeared for a while, and in her stead, her friends took on the mantle of Miss Marvel. One night, her friend Zoe, who was dressed in a Miss Marvel-esque burkini, herself ran into Red Dagger at Half Moon Isle on the Jersey City waterfront one night. Red Dagger told Zoe he'd been out looking for Miss Marvel since their last encounter when they stopped the train together, and Zoe immediately recognized the infatuation that he had with Kamala. Zoe and Red Dagger took an elderly man named Harold back to his assisted living facility and ended up running into a massive cyborg lizard monster on the ALF campus. Red Dagger was able to access the monster's control panel, rip out some wires, and detonate the monster to save them both, though Red Dagger was knocked out and wounded. Zoe had to help him walk, he was so injured. Zoe was able to deduce that the lizard monster was made by a guy named the Inventor, whom they had all thought had perished. The group of Kamala's friends gathered at their normal basement hangout/headquarters to talk about how Kamala was missing and now Zoe was too, and this is when Red Dagger showed up and climbed through a window to join them. He told them that they were amateurs, that it was very easy to track them and figure out where they were spending their time. That's when Red Dagger in his costume teamed up with Nakia, Michaela, and Gabe, all in their own Miss Marvel suits, to head out to find and rescue Zoe. Across rooftops and through neighborhoods they ran, tracking Zoe's location with cell phone GPS. Red Dagger told the trio to stay back when they got to the pinged location, and Red Dagger went inside the house and found a lab in the basement where Zoe and Harold were tied up, prisoners of Dr. Gregory Knox, who was impersonating the Inventor. And as Zoe and Dr. Knox argued, Red Dagger and the Miss Marvels showed up to battle him. After a pitched heated battle, Knox escaped, which is when they realized that they were in over their heads. Even Red Dagger said he was used to petty criminals, not this level of threat, so Kamala's friends ended up summoning Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, for aid. So the three Miss Marvels, Red Dagger, and Captain Marvel all teamed up to fight back against Dr. Knox's next attack against the entire city, while Kamala's friend Naftali tracked Kamala down to a boarding school, a private school in Jersey City Heights. Naftali convinced Kamala to come back, and that if there was stuff on Kamala's mind, that it would be good for her to talk it out with her friends, that they were more than willing to do their part, as evidenced by the veritable battlefield that Jersey City had become. So Kamala transformed to Miss Marvel and showed up to render aid to her friends. Red Dagger was the first to exclaim that she was back. After Kamala's sister-in-law, Taisha, wife of her older brother Amir, had her baby and Kamala became an aunt, she went out on patrol, a grin on her face. That happiness was seen by Red Dagger, who appeared to say hello to her and tell her that he was glad that she was back. Miss Marvel asked Red Dagger if he really missed her, surprised, and he said that he more than missed her. He then had her close her eyes, and he pulled down his red face mask and kissed Miss Marvel under the light of a New Jersey night. Turns out her old friends Bruno and King T'Challa's nephew Kwezi saw them. When Bruno and Miss Marvel talked later, he said that he thought that he would be the one that she would kiss first. And then a new girl showed up at school named Kaylee Kirk, who would turn out to be a sentient computer virus, a supervillainess named Doc X. So even though Kamala ended up kissing Red Dagger, she felt like she was in love with Bruno. Maybe. She couldn't figure it out. These were all new emotions for her. And later, Red Dagger found Miss Marvel again as she was stopping a thief from stealing a satellite in an alley, and he said before anything else happened that they both had to decide how intimate that they wanted to be, and Kamala reeled back at that comment. But what he meant was, should they reveal their identities to each other or not? How personal did they want to get? He'd made some guesses as to who she was, and he suspected that she did in turn, but they, to this point, hadn't officially revealed anything yet, but we all know who they are. She didn't know what to do, so her response was not to say anything, but to leave. So she took off with that crook in hand, leaving Red Dagger by himself in the alley. Miss Marvel liked Red Dagger, but she was scared of messing everything up, especially after what had happened with new human Cameron, whom she used to like, but who ended up kidnapping her. At a school dance soon thereafter, Kaylee Kirk was revealed as Doc X, and was about to attack, which is when Red Dagger showed up again with a flying sidekick to Kaylee's metal face. And as they fought the cyborg, Miss Marvel and Red Dagger talked. Miss Marvel said that she was still unsure about what to do and how to feel, which is when Red Dagger said that he suspected that's what she would say, and he revealed to her that he decided to leave, to go back home to Karachi for now. And that was the last time we saw him in Miss Marvel's book. Red Dagger then appeared next, though, in 2021's Marvel's Voices Identity, a book celebrating AAPI heritage. This new story, called Seeing Red, found us in Pakistan in the port of Karachi for a new adventure. Miss Marvel was also back in the city on a school vacation. Red Dagger had been interrupting shipments at the docks, and so this gang captured him and strung him up, hanging him upside down from a crane, threatening to take one limb for every shipment that he had messed up. He then told them that he had put trackers on all of the shipments, just before revealing that he'd also let his friend Miss Marvel know where he was. And right on cue, Miss Marvel showed up and biggened to a massive size, and together they took down the Kushkati smugglers. Later, the pair went to Clifton Beach, a popular locale in Karachi on the Arabian Sea. They waded into the water together and embraced, but when Kamala said that she missed home in New Jersey, that it was hard to be here, Kareem said that she was a self-hating Pakistani, and Kamala pushed him away, calling him a jerk for the comment and for ruining the moment. She still had a lot of thinking to do. She's still very young, and her self-discovery journey was one she was still very much on. Sabir Perzada, who wrote that story, said that identity meant a perpetual reconciliation of who you see yourself as with how you're perceived by others. That identity is the most challenging to put into words, but perhaps the most important to do so. Something that both Ms. Marvel and Red Dagger were still struggling with how to do. Both of them reflections of each other. And to coincide with Marvel Entertainment's Ms. Marvel show premiering on Disney Plus in June of 2022, Marvel Unlimited is publishing an Infinity Comics digital exclusive anthology series entitled Love Unlimited, Ms. Marvel and Red Dagger Infinity Comic. It focuses more on the pair and their intense chemistry as they investigate a series of relics that have been stolen in daring heists. The question teasing the issue says, will they find the courage to take off the masks and give love a chance? And so will that happen in that story, or does it happen in the Disney Plus series, where Red Dagger is portrayed by Aramis Knight? You'll have to watch it to find out. And so with that, that's a wrap on this, my friends. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and you'll be one of the first to know when I upload videos just like this every week. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.